The cold wind moved across the open land and carried a sharp chill that burned the skin. Gray clouds covered the sky and blocked any sign of warmth or comfort. A woman walked slowly toward a quiet ranch with 3 children beside her. Her name was Mira, and her steps were heavy from fear and exhaustion. Mira held her youngest child close against her chest to protect the small body from the freezing air. The other 2 children followed her with weak steps and tired faces. Their clothes were thin and worn from too many days in the cold. Each breath came out as a pale cloud and disappeared into the wind. They had been walking for hours without rest or shelter. The road behind them was empty and offered no reason to turn back. Mira did not know where they would sleep if this place rejected them. All she knew was that her children could not survive another night outside. The ranch appeared quiet and still, as if it had been waiting for them. Old wooden fences surrounded the land and leaned slightly from age. A large barn stood to the side and made soft sounds as the wind passed through it. In the distance, a small house stood with a faint light glowing inside. That light gave Mira a small feeling of hope that she had not felt in a long time. Her heart beat faster as she guided the children toward the gate. She told herself that even a closed door would be better than the open road. The children stayed close to her, sensing her fear without understanding it. The oldest child, Liam, tried to walk strong, but his legs trembled. Nora kept rubbing her hands together, trying to make them warm again. The youngest child barely moved and slept from pure exhaustion. Mira whispered soft words to them and promised safety even though she was unsure. Inside the barn, a man noticed movement near the fence. His name was Owen, and he had lived on this ranch his whole life. The land was more familiar to him than people were. Visitors were rare and unexpected, especially in weather like this. Owen stepped out of the barn and watched carefully. He saw a woman and children standing in the cold. Their posture told a story of struggle without words. He felt something tighten in his chest as he looked at them. He walked slowly toward the gate so he would not frighten the children. His boots pressed into the snow with steady steps. Mira lifted her head when she heard the sound behind her. Fear passed through her eyes as she prepared herself for rejection. She tightened her hold on the youngest child and pulled the others closer. Her mind raced with words she might say to explain their presence. She was ready to ask for help or forgiveness if needed. Survival had removed pride from her long ago. Owen stopped a short distance away and looked at the children first. He saw pale faces and shaking hands and thin coats. The wind showed no mercy, and neither did the sky above. He knew this was not a moment for questions. Mira waited for him to speak with her heart pounding. The children looked up at the man with wide, uncertain eyes. Owen opened the gate wider and stepped aside. His voice was calm and firm when he spoke. "This is your home now." The words felt unreal to Mira, as if she had not heard them correctly. She stared at him, unsure if she was allowed to believe him. The children looked at her, waiting for a sign. Tears burned her eyes but did not fall. Owen gestured toward the house where warm light filled the windows. He told them to come inside before the cold took more from them. Mira finally nodded and guided the children through the gate. Each step forward felt lighter than the last. The warmth of the house greeted them as soon as the door opened. The children gasped softly as heat touched their skin. Mira stood still for a moment, unable to move. Her body finally understood that they were safe for now. Owen placed blankets over the children without saying much. He brought warm water and simple food. The children ate slowly, as if afraid it would disappear. Mira watched them with a quiet mix of relief and disbelief. The ranch that once felt distant now felt like shelter. The storm outside continued, but it no longer touched them. Mira realized that this place might change everything. And this was only the beginning. Morning arrived quietly at the ranch, and the storm slowly loosened its grip on the land. Soft light entered the house through the small windows and touched the wooden floor. Mira woke before the children and sat still for a moment, listening to the calm. She was not used to silence that did not feel dangerous. The warmth of the room felt strange after so many cold nights. She wrapped her arms around herself and took a slow breath. For the first time in weeks her body did not ache from fear. The house felt solid and safe around her. Liam stirred first and opened his eyes carefully. He looked around the room as if expecting it to disappear. When he realized they were still inside the ranch house, he relaxed slightly. Nora sat up soon after and smiled for the first time in days. The youngest child slept longer wrapped in thick blankets. Mira watched their chest rise and fall and felt relief. She brushed hair away from their face gently. Her heart felt full and heavy at the same time. Footsteps sounded from outside and Mira tensed out of habit. Then she remembered where they were and slowly stood. Owen entered the house carrying a basket of food. He greeted them with a quiet nod and set the basket on the table. He told them they could stay warm and eat before the day began. His voice was steady and made no demands. Mira thanked him softly and guided the children to the table. The smell of fresh food filled the room and made the children eager. As they ate, Owen watched without staring. He noticed how carefully the children ate, as if saving every bite. That sight stayed with him and deepened his resolve. He decided then that he would not rush them or question their past. After breakfast, Owen showed them the ranch slowly. The children followed him with curiosity instead of fear. The barn stood tall and strong against the open land. Animals moved calmly inside, as if welcoming them. Liam asked careful questions about the animals and the land. Owen answered simply and smiled at the boys' interest. Nora followed closely and touched the wooden posts with wonder. The ranch felt alive to her in a way the road never did. Mira stayed slightly behind, watching everything. She studied Owen's movements and words. There was no pressure in his presence, only patience. It confused her and comforted her at the same time. They returned to the house as the sun rose higher. Owen showed Mira where she could wash clothes and rest. He told her she could help around the ranch if she wished. There was no demand, only an offer. Mira agreed, quietly wanting to earn their place. She helped clean the house and organize the space. Each simple task grounded her in the present. The children played nearby and laughed softly. That sound filled the house with something it had lacked for years. Owen paused when he heard the laughter. It reminded him of a time long past. The ranch felt warmer than it had in a long while. As days passed, a routine began to form. The children helped with small tasks and learned quickly. Liam fed the animals with pride. Nora helped Mira inside the house and asked endless questions. The youngest child grew stronger each day. Their cheeks gained color and their eyes brightened. Mira watched these changes with gratitude. She had not dared hope for this kind of recovery. At night, Mira sat by the window and thought. She wondered how long this kindness would last. Part of her feared it would vanish without warning. Still, she allowed herself to rest. Owen noticed her quiet worry and spoke gently one evening. He told her the ranch was big enough for all of them. He said no one would be pushed away without reason. His words settled deep inside her. Mira shared a little of her story without details. She spoke of loss and long roads and cold nights. Owen listened without interrupting. He did not ask for more than she offered. Trust began slowly between them like a small fire. It did not burn bright, but it stayed steady. The children sensed it and felt safer each day. The ranch slowly became a place of belonging. Mira realized that this was more than shelter. It was a chance to begin again. The road no longer called to her. The ranch felt like the future. The ranch settled into a steady rhythm as days turned into weeks and the land slowly changed its color. Morning light came earlier and stayed longer over the fields. Mira woke each day with purpose instead of fear. The house no longer felt borrowed, but lived in. She learned the sounds of the ranch and what each sound meant. The animals had their own voices and habits. The wind carried different meanings depending on its direction. Mira listened and learned with care. Liam grew stronger with every task he was given. He took pride in feeding the animals and repairing small fences. Owen guided him patiently and showed him how to respect the land. The boy listened closely and tried his best. Nora found comfort inside the house and around the garden. She helped Mira cook and clean and asked questions about everything. Her laughter returned fully and filled the rooms. She no longer flinched at sudden sounds. The youngest child began to walk freely around the house. Their steps were unsure but full of curiosity. Mira followed, closely watching every movement. Her heart softened with each small smile. Owen noticed the changes in all of them. The ranch felt different with children running across the yard. It felt alive again in a way he had forgotten. He worked longer days without feeling tired. One afternoon, a stranger arrived near the fence. Mira saw him first and felt her body tense. Old fear returned without warning. She pulled the children closer and watched from a distance. Owen stepped forward calmly and spoke with the stranger. Their voices were low and carried no anger. The man left after a short while without trouble. Still the moment lingered in the air. That evening Mira could not relax. Memories of the road returned to her thoughts. She feared that safety could be taken away. Sleep came slowly that night. Owen noticed her unease and spoke with her gently. He told her the ranch was protected and distant. He promised that no harm would come to the children. His voice carried certainty. Mira listened and slowly believed him. She shared more of her past without details. She spoke of moving often and never settling. Owen listened as always. Trust deepened between them quietly. There were no promises made aloud. Actions spoke louder than words. The ranch held them together. As seasons shifted, Mira began to plan. She imagined a future rooted in this land. The children spoke of staying and learning. Hope replaced fear in small, steady ways. One morning Mira helped Owen repair a broken gate. They worked side by side without hurry. The silence between them felt comfortable. It was no longer empty. Owen spoke of the ranch history and his family. Mira listened and respected his story. They shared space and effort equally. A bond formed through work and trust. The children watched them from a distance. They sensed stability and calm. For the first time they felt permanent. The ranch felt like home in their hearts. Mira stood at the edge of the land one evening. She looked at the horizon without fear. The road behind her no longer mattered. Her future stood before her. The ranch had given them shelter and time. Time had given them strength and trust. Mira knew this place had changed them. And something greater was still coming. The ranch stood calm as the final season arrived and brought quiet change to the land. Golden light spread across the fields each morning and rested gently on the house. Mira woke with peace in her heart instead of worry. The feeling of belonging had settled deep inside her. The children moved through the ranch with confidence and joy. Liam worked beside Owen like a young partner, learning each task carefully. Nora helped inside the house and outside in the garden with steady hands. The youngest child followed everyone with laughter and curiosity. Owen watched the family grow into the space they shared. The ranch felt complete in a way he had not expected. The silence that once filled his days was gone. In its place stood warmth and purpose. One evening the wind moved softly across the land. Mira stood on the porch watching the sky change color. She remembered the night they arrived, cold and unsure. That memory felt distant now. Owen joined her and stood beside her without speaking. The quiet between them felt strong and safe. Mira turned to him and thanked him for everything. Her voice was steady and full. Owen answered that the ranch had needed them as much as they needed it. His words carried truth and kindness. Mira felt emotion rise but remained calm. She understood what he meant. Days passed and the family settled fully into ranch life. The children attended lessons nearby and returned home with stories. Mira balanced work and care with growing confidence. She felt proud of what they had become. One afternoon the children ran across the field laughing freely. Mira watched them with quiet joy. She realized they no longer looked back at the road. Their eyes were always forward. Owen prepared a simple meal that evening for all of them. They sat together and shared stories of the day. The table felt full even without many words. The house glowed with warmth. As night arrived, Mira reflected on their journey. She remembered fear and long nights and uncertainty. She also remembered strength she did not know she had. The ranch had given her space to find it. Owen spoke of the future in simple terms. He spoke of seasons and growth and shared effort. Mira listened and nodded. She saw her place clearly. The children grew quiet as sleep arrived. Mira tucked them in with gentle care. She whispered comfort and hope. Their breathing filled the room with peace. Later Mira stepped outside alone. The stars shone clearly above the land. She felt gratitude settle deep inside her. This place had become home. The ranch stood strong against the night. Its fences and fields held stories old and new. Mira knew their story was now part of it. A new chapter had begun. Morning arrived again with gentle light. Life continued steady and true. The road no longer called to them. The ranch was their home now.